Hey everyone, and welcome back to the podcast.
And I'm Jenny. We've got a good one for you today, diving into some serious automation news from the Automate show. It was a big deal.
Oh man, this is the cool part, Jenny. So Zimmer Group, they're a big name in gripping and handling and automation tech, and they made this splash at Automate by unveiling their new, autonomous mobile robot. And the name, it's called Miles. Like M-I-L-E-S. Miles. How great is that?
Miles, like miles and miles of efficiency? I like it. It's got a good ring to it. Tell me about this robot, Mark. What makes Miles stand out from, the sea of robots we see?
So, basically here's what's happening. The industrial world, the logistics world, they've got a real need for robots that can move some serious weight, and Miles is stepping up big time in that area. We're talking load capacities up to 2,000 kilograms. That's 2 tons. Just, whoa, compared to a lot of standard AMRs out there that handle, maybe a few hundred kilos. This is playing in a different league.
Okay, wait, let me get this straight. A robot that can just zip around a warehouse or factory floor carrying 2 tons? That's automating a lot of heavy lifting. What kind of places are really going to need something with that much muscle?
Yeah, think about manufacturing floors, right? Where you're moving huge coils of steel or stacks of heavy components, or those massive warehouses where you're shifting pallets of finished goods. It really fills that specific gap where you need flexible movement, but with some heft behind it. And here's another key thing about Miles. It uses what's called natural navigation.
Natural navigation? Like, it's not following a track, it's just figuring it out as it goes, like intuitively?
Yes, exactly. That's a great way to put it. It builds a map of its environment using its sensors. LiDAR and cameras are key here. And it navigates based on that internal map. There's no need for, magnetic strips or predefined paths painted on the floor, like the old school AGVs, the automated guided vehicles. It can sense its surroundings, react to things in its path. Move around obstacles. It's kind of like, when you're walking through a super crowded concert hall, or maybe a busy trade show floor, and you intuitively find your way around people and displays. It's doing that kind of spatial reasoning, but for moving heavy industrial goods.
Okay, so it's adaptable. It can handle unexpected stuff. And I can already hear our listeners thinking, but is it safe if it's just sort of deciding where to go, especially with 2 tons on top of it?
Right? Great question, and safety is, as you'd expect, a huge focus with these types of robots. These AMRs are designed specifically to work in spaces shared with humans. They have to meet really high safety standards and regulations. Miles uses sophisticated sensors and complex algorithms to detect people, forklifts, unexpected obstacles, and ensure safe interaction. If someone steps in front of it, it's not just going to plow through, it will slow down or stop. 2-4.
So it's not going to accidentally collide with someone carrying 2 tons worth of, whatever heavy thing they're carrying.
Precisely. The safety systems are integral to the design, not an afterthought. And speaking of how it moves, it has this feature they highlighted called Omnidirectional drive.
Omnidirectional? Does that mean it can move in, any direction? Sideways?
Pretty much. It has a unique wheel configuration that gives it incredible maneuverability. It can move sideways, diagonally. It can rotate on the spot. This capacity is incredibly useful in tight spaces, bottleneck areas on a factory floor or within a crowded warehouse aisle. It can sort of crab walk into position much more effectively than a robot that can only drive forward and backward like a standard car or truck. 1-4.
That's really clever. So it's not just capable of carrying weight, but it's also really agile for its size. But how does it know where to go? Is someone sitting there with a remote control? Like a big RC car?
No, that's where the autonomous part really comes in. It's all connected to and managed by fleet management software. This software is really the brain behind the entire operation. It receives tasks, it plans the optimal routes, it manages traffic flow if you've got multiple Miles robots running around the same facility, and it interfaces with existing business systems like ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, or WMS, Warehouse Management Systems 3.
Okay, so ERP and WMS, those are like The big software platforms companies use to manage their whole business and their inventory, right?
Exactly. So the Miles system isn't a standalone robot operating in a vacuum. It's designed to be integrated seamlessly into the overall digital infrastructure and workflow of a facility. The software can get a command from the WMS saying, "Okay, move this specific pallet from station A to station B." And Miles, communicating with the software, figures out the best way to do it, factoring in other traffic, current conditions, even battery levels. It's automating the entire process chain, from the command to the physical movement. 1.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It's the combined intelligence of the smart robot and the smart software that makes the whole system work together efficiently. And you mentioned modularity earlier? This sounds interesting. What's that all about?
Oh man, this is another design element that makes it really versatile. Zimmer designed Miles with a modular rack system on top. What this means is you can customize the payload area of the robot to carry different types of loads, or even integrate specific tooling directly onto the robot. Need to move standard pallets? There's likely a module for that. Need to carry a specific complex fixture or a large bin? You can potentially customize the top to fit it perfectly. This flexibility is a big deal, because it means one type of AMR, one base unit, can be adapted for different tasks within the same facility, or even for different types of customers across different industries.
So it's like a base robot that you can put different hats or attachments on, depending on the specific job it needs to do at that moment? I like that analogy.
Yeah, it's kind of exactly like that. And it's worth noting that alongside Miles at the Automate show, they also unveiled redesigned tool changers and new robot arms. This speaks to their broader strategy in automation, not just offering a mobile platform, but providing more complete solutions. Input data. It demonstrates their thinking about the entire workflow, from picking something up to moving it to a new location, not just getting from point A to point B.
That integration of different automation components, mobile robots, arms, grippers, that seems key to creating really efficient automated systems. It's not just about one piece of technology, but how it all fits into the bigger picture of a factory or warehouse.
Exactly. It reflects the broader trends we're seeing in intralogistics automation, a significant move towards more flexible, interconnected, and collaborative systems. Especially post-pandemic, companies are really looking for ways to increase internal efficiency, reduce the reliance on manual labor for those repetitive, heavy, or even dangerous tasks, and make their supply chains more resilient to disruption.
And high-payload AMRs like Miles seem purpose-built to address those exact challenges. High-payload, smart natural navigation, integrated fleet management software. It addresses a lot of the common pain points companies face when trying to automate material handling.
They really seem to have done their homework on what the market needs right now. And they reported some decent specs too. Battery life is up to 10 hours on certain models, which is good for a full shift in many operations. Speed-wise, we're looking at up to 1.6 meters per second, which is roughly 6 kilometers an hour. Not, setting land speed records, but a steady, efficient pace for indoor logistics. 4.
Right, so it's designed for steady, reliable, safe work, not racing. Plus, with the safety features and working alongside humans, you'd want it to be predictable anyway. What about the human element, though? How does this sort of automation impact the workers who are currently doing these tasks?
That's a really important question, and it's one that comes up whenever we talk about automation. The goal with AMRs like Miles isn't typically to eliminate all human workers, but rather to automate the well-known dull, dirty, and dangerous tasks. Moving heavy loads repeatedly is a prime example of a physically demanding, repetitive task that can also be hazardous if not done correctly. Automating this with a robot like Miles can free up human workers for more complex, value-added tasks that require human judgment and dexterity. It also significantly improves workplace safety by reducing the strain and potential accidents that come with manual heavy lifting.
That's a good way to frame it. Rather than automating entire jobs, it's automating specific, difficult, or risky tasks times within times jobs. So the focus shifts more to collaboration between times humans and robots, with each doing what they're best suited for.
Exactly. It's about creating a more efficient and ultimately a safer environment overall. And with the flexibility offered by that modular design we discussed, You can start to imagine just how this technology could be applied in such a wide range of scenarios across different industries.
From moving components along a complex assembly line to transporting huge rolls of fabric, or from moving finished goods to the shipping dock to bringing raw materials from receiving, the potential applications seem pretty extensive.
Right? Isn't that fascinating? And it's interesting to see a company like Zimmer, which, as we mentioned, has this long history and deep expertise in manipulation, in gripping and handling things, entering this mobile robotics space with what looks like a pretty robust and well-thought-out solution in miles.
It feels like a logical step for them, doesn't it? Leveraging their core strengths in handling and bringing that expertise into the mobile world. So, looking ahead, Mark, what are we still, waiting or looking to see with Miles?
Well, since it's a relatively new launch, we're still missing some of the practical, long-term insights. Things like real-world user feedback from companies that have deployed it at scale, and specific case studies demonstrating quantifiable efficiency gains in different operational environments. Missing areas. I'd be really keen to see how it performs day to day in a really busy, complex factory floor setting, for instance.
Yeah, seeing it in action, navigating those dynamic environments, and hearing directly from the people who work alongside it, the operators, the logistics managers, that would add another layer of understanding.
Definitely. But based on the initial specs and features they've highlighted, it certainly looks like a significant player entering the high-payload AMR market. They've definitely designed it with those heavy-duty needs in mind.
Miles ahead of the competition, you could say?
Oh, Jenny, you went there. Yes, you could. I like it. All right, that's a nice wrap on Miles. It's definitely one to keep an eye on as it starts rolling out. Literally.
Agreed. Thanks for breaking down all those technical details and capabilities, Mark. Makes it much clearer.
Anytime. It's what I do, understanding the tech bits.
And we appreciate it. All right, everyone, until next time, I'm Jenny.
And I'm Mark. See you on the next episode.